In this video, we're going to be working with multi-wheels, meaning bi-wheels, tri-wheels, or quad wheels in your I/O Edition. Specifically, we're going to use a tri-wheel as an example, but the principle that we will show you in creating this wheel applies to any multi-wheel. So we're going to create a tri-wheel at a customer's request, showing them how to create one with a transit chart, a secondary progression, and of course the natal chart of an individual. In this case, we're going to select Eric Clapton. We highlight his name in the list, go to Designs, Compound Charts to select a tri-wheel, and there we have a tri-wheel with Eric Clapton's natal chart in the center because we had highlighted it, and two here and now, the defaults when you open a chart without selecting something in particular, and in this case it's for London, England, where we have our preferences set. So the first thing we need to do is create Eric's secondary progression. So we'll go back over to the chart file, double click on Eric's name to open his natal card, and from the chart type we're going to select a progression, in this case a secondary progression. And you notice the card changes to allow us to enter a progress to date and time. Any date and time, obviously, just as you would enter your date and time in the original natal card. But for our convenience, we're going to just click now and enter today's date and the current time. Now, one thing I do in saving these charts, and this one I do want to save because I may use Eric's secondary progression again, be able to select it quickly and easily in the list in my library or in the chart file. After Eric's first name, I'm going to put an uppercase S and P. Secondary progression, obviously. And now I'll save it. And you see that Eric Clapton's name appears a second time with the SP after it, and it happens to be showing the secondary progress chart data in this window. So I need to move this into the chart wheel. There are two ways that we can do that. One, we can just go to an open space in the data card, and you see my cursor turns into a hand with a blue sheet of paper behind it. I can click down and hold, and you see as I begin to move, a little chart icon appears. I could either drop that into the second position, second wheel in the chart, and you see it becomes fuzzy, highlighted, so you know that it's active. And the box above it, the second position box, is also highlighted. So I could either drop it into the chart wheel, or I could drop it onto the box. And you see that I now have his secondary progression in the second wheel. Now we're finished with this data card, so I can close it. But what I'm going to do next is open a new data card, and I'm going to cheat. Now I suggest to people that you create an all-purpose transit card, because if you talk to a lot of people or you create a lot of charts, you can, especially if you're talking to people on the phone, you can create a transit card and then just go ahead and enter the date and the time and the place that you are looking for the transits to, and you can do what I'm about to do with Eric's card. For this instance, the date and time I'm going to enter now. For the city, we know that Eric's going to be in Los Angeles, CA. We're going to click the Atlas button, select the city, because there are several options for Los Angeles, but Los Angeles Main is Central is what we want. We're going to insert it, and you see that the proper time zone is put in place, and the longitude and the latitude. So we have all the information we need to create the transit card or chart for this particular tri-wheel. So I'm going to again go into an open space, watch my cursor turn into a hand, grab it, and pull it over to third position. And now I have the completed bi-wheel or tri-wheel. I have the natal chart in the center. I have the secondary progression in the second wheel. I have the transit chart in the next wheel. If I wanted to move those, if I wanted to change positions of them, I could either drop them into the different position, or I can simply hit the rotate button, and you see that I've moved the secondary progression into the reference point. Rotate it again. I have the transit in the reference point. But I don't want those. Of course, we want the natal chart as the reference point. That establishes this particular wheel. So we're back to Eric in the center, secondary progression in the second wheel, and the transit chart in the outer wheel. I want to save the graphic of this wheel, the actual page that the wheel's on with all this information. So I'm going to go up to the top of my screen. Under File, I'm going to select Print. Now we're not going to print it, but we're going to save as a PDF. You see at the bottom left-hand corner of the Print dialog window is the PDF button. PDF is a great way to save a file for attaching to an email, and this applies to charts, graphs, your reports, anything that you create in these programs. So save as PDF. Opens a window that allows me to name it. We'll call it Eric Clapton Try September. And by default, this is saving it to the desktop, which is where I want to save it, but I could save it to anywhere in my system. I could create an astrology charts folder, save it there in documents. I could save it wherever I choose. I'm going to save this to my desktop, so we'll leave it there. Click Save, and you see that Eric Clapton's chart appears on my desktop. Now to open this, I just click, and there's Eric's PDF of Eric's chart, which I can easily attach to an email, send off to anyone. Don't want this right now, so we're closing that. We're finished with the transit card, so we're not going to save it. Again, you could save an all-purpose card and use that, or you can do what I've just done. So we're going to click and close. And a couple other things let me show you about the tri-wheel. The tri-wheel is really handy, and drag and drop is handy in any multi-wheel that you're using. If I wanted to change this wheel, for example, I could add Al Capone, compare him to my friend Eric Clapton, and then maybe add an Albert Einstein, drop him up in the third chart position, and there we have 3 charts displayed all at once. Now I can do this with any multi-wheel. A bi-wheel it's very handy with. You can do it with any wheels in your programs, but this makes it easy to move around through different programs, different people. Drag and drop is something that you want to learn to use in this program, and it makes life easy and convenient, and it's exclusive of course to the Mac. So we're finished with this. I hope it helped. I hope it explained the use of tri-wheels especially, but all multi-wheels to you. And if you have any questions, always feel free to contact us. Thank you.